Okay. Everyone, welcome back to Likutey Halachos here at Shira David after the Neitz Minyan, Baruch Hashem. And today, Baruch Hashem, we're going to start a new letter. We're still in Halacha Hey of Likutey Halachos. We're in Hilchos Tzitzit, Halacha Hey. Today we're going to do letter 7, Zion, letter 7, and here we go today. Now, we were learning many different concepts of getting up at Chatzos and the Medame, the whole idea of the imagination and how to train the imagination and how the Tzitzit can help do that. Now, one thing I want to bring in is like this: what is the connection between the Medame, our imagination, and garments? And we're making a connection of the imagination and garments. What is the connection between a garment and the imagination? Do you want to offer any explanation?
Between garments and imagination?
Yeah.
When I see someone dressed a certain way, I imagine who this guy is.
Okay, good, okay.
Some people wear garments that have great imagination.
Great imagination, okay. So here we're going to say
external imagination is
Internal,
internal.
excellent. That's the point we're going to go with, actually, because the imagination, the medam, is actually the garment of the mayach, the mind, right? The mind is enclosed in the imagination, right? The mind, the eyes are an agent of the mind, mind. The mind wants to know something. It tells the eyes to go look at that thing, to see that thing. It has the ears listen to this thing because the mind wants to know, right? So then all of these things are all the garments of the mind. The same way a person wants to, it's a cold day, he has to put on a coat, and he has to put on his socks and his boots and his gloves and his scarf. All of the things, it's all an enclosement of the guf. So too, the imagination is an enclosement of the mind. Does that make any sense? Do you like that? Does that make sense?
Yeah, but are you saying the eyes are part of the mind?
They're agents of the mind. It's an agent of the mind.
Same as all of our senses.
All of our senses are an agent of the mind. The mind wants to know something. It has you want to feel something, so the mind wants and has a feel. So it'll tell you the hand to go touch this thing so it can feel it, can send a message back to the mind. Right? That makes sense, right? Mm-hmm. It's all based on the mind. It's all the mind, and which is really the Neshama, right? Because the Neshama is really in this world to do its mitzvahs, to protect, to fulfill its mitzvahs, to get closer to HaKadosh Baruch Hu. That's the whole point of the Neshama. It's in this world to go past the whole idea of Bechira, the whole idea of that free choice, right? This free choice. Hashem wants there to be free choice. There must be free choice for us to make those choices. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu would just show himself in the world, right? If HaKadosh Baruch Hu would just show himself in the world, there would be no Bechira. There would be no Bechira. The same way, if you're standing on a building that's 30 stories high, and there's no parapet wall on the building, right? There's wall. No one's going to stand right at the edge, right? No one's going to stand there. Why won't you stand there? Because if I go another foot, I'm going to fall down. 30 stories, right? You understand? So that's how close. I'm giving you a blatant example. If HaKadosh Baruch Hu, we would understand that we have that chelek elikam imal, that part of Hashem in us. And Hashem is with us no matter where we go. And that was so known to us, and that was so real to us. How could we ever make a sin? How could we ever make a sin? But Hashem chooses to play that game of hide go seek. Hashem wants to play that game. He wants us to find Him. He wants us to find. So that's what all these lessons are about. So look what, yes?
Are you saying that the soul is in our mind?
The Neshama shebemoichi. If you take a look when you put on your tefillin, I'm going to explain it to you. I'm going to answer your question.
Neshama is the same as soul?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. The nefesh elikus, the Neshama, they're different names. They're different descriptions of the Neshama. So we say when you put on a tefillin, if you take a look at the tefillin, the prayer that you say before you put on tefillin, you say Shahaneshama shebemoichi. I say that my neshama is in my mind. The neshama is, right? You know these words, right? The neshama is in my mind. My mind. My neshama is in my mind. And then the imagination is the enclothing, is enclothing the neshama. Okay, now here, watch what the Rebbe says. I need to give you that understanding for the next words, okay? Let's try now. With Siyata Tishmai. Ki kol ha-Torah kulai klula v'bechinas begadim. Because the whole Torah, everything, all the mitzvahs, everything of the Torah is all garments, vestments, garments. For what? For the Neshama. Where? In the next world. In the next world. Whenever we study Torah in this world, right? Whatever we do, any mitzvahs that we do, and any Torah study that we do, it's all a garment. We're preparing garments for ourselves for the next world, for the world to come. That's what we are doing. That's the preparation that we are doing every time we study Torah. But how can I ever remember that? And how do I remember? How do I make that connection when I'm studying Torah to understand that I'm creating a garment for myself, and it's going to be a most beautiful suit, the most beautiful garment. How do I do that? I need my tzitzis. My tzitzis is the main garment that we keep talking about. The tzitzis can help remind me what garments truly are. The tzitzis can help remind me what my garments are, what's real, what is real. And that's why the tzitzis is the first garment we touch and we put on in the morning. The tzitzis is the first garment. We always look at the tzitzis, and we should always take that one moment. Take the moment, look at the strings, look at the tzitzis. I know it's sometimes we get up and it's a big bahol, it's a big thing. Okay, I understand, but take that one moment, look at the tzitzis. Remind you, what is this? This is the tikkun of my begadim. As it says in Tehillah, Shlomo Melech writes that your garments are always supposed to be white. Your garments are always supposed to be clean, white and clean. What does that mean? The garments are white and clean. If we study Torah the right way, and we understand when we're studying Torah, we understand the concept that Kutsha Brichu Araisa V'Yisrael Kulei Chod. Right? If we understand that the Torah, HaKadosh Baruch Hu and the Jewish people are one unit, we are all one unit. And if I understand that, and when I open up the Chumash, when I open up the Mishnah, when I open up the Gemara, when I open up the Shulchan Aruch, whatever I'm studying, I'm learning Likutey Halachos. It doesn't matter what I'm studying, anything that I'm studying, and I understand that I'm mamish connecting myself to the Rebbeinu Shalom. We are all one unit. I am Jewish. I have my Neshama. So that's Yisrael. The Torah and HaKadosh Baruch Hu is all one unit. Fascinating. But this is what's going on every time that we study Torah. We are mamish connecting ourselves to all other Jews because Yisrael is one unit. We are connecting ourselves to the Torah, which is everything of all creation. Hashem Aistako Baraisa Barioil, right? HaKadosh Baruch Hu looked at the Torah and He created the world, right? It was only through Hashem's looking in the Torah and He created the world. So everything is the Torah. Everything in the world is Torah. Everything. The question is, how do I train myself to view it that way? That I need my garments, and that's what we're learning here. The Tzitzit. Yes, that's right. Shezeh Nema. What? Begadim.
Begadim.
Yeah. Shezeh Nema al Klolius Kiyam HaTorah VaMitzvos. That's talking about in general all Kiyam HaTorah VaMitzvos, all fulfillment of the Torah, fulfillment of all the Torah mitzvahs, and the mitzvahs that we do, everything. So it doesn't matter what you're doing. The question is, the tzitzis can help remind me that during my day, when I'm in the office, I have to go to the office and I have to call clients. Do I understand when I'm calling the clients, these are connections that Hashem set up for me for this day? These are connections Hashem set up for me. It says that the Rebbeinu Shalom is busy mezaveg zivugim. The Gemara says Hashem is being mezaveg zivugim. Right? He's making all these connections, right? So some understand mezaveg zivugim means Hashem is making, he's pairing people up, right? He's making matches, right? He's making matches. Of course he's making matches. And he's doing that too. But he's really making a match for everybody and every person and every connection that anyone's going to have each day. This is what Hashem is setting up. And why is He setting it up? Because these are all our tests. He wants to see, are you going to see me in this meeting? Are you going to know when you're talking to this person This is actually me talking to you. This is me talking to you through this person. Do you recognize that? It's a whole different conversation. It's a whole right? Is it true? Is that right? Do you like that? Does that make sense? I see you smiling, but it's mama's emes lamita. It's the truth. It's all the Rebbeinu Shalom. But how do we train ourselves to do that? During the day we get so busy, right? And there's so many things that happen. You get that email, you get that the text message, you get the WhatsApp. There's all these different things that start beeping, and how do you do that? But you have to just
So I'll give you a practical example.
Give a practice, please.
I used to do a lot of telephoning. And one of the concealments that I think is some of the things we experience or create in my mind. Like some people are afraid to use the phone to call people. And that is kind of like
They're shy, right?
it's not about being, no, it's like,
okay.
no, it's something that you have to, that God blessed you with for some reason that you have to fix.
Yeah.
So, and then you have to learn how to fix it. Well, I have a book on how to fix those things, how to fix your mind so you can align it. And I used to do a lot of calling, and I used to say, Hashem just told me, all right, you're just making friends. Just call to make friends.
That's it.
And you don't have to worry about anything else.
But that's the main point you said. You say, Hashem, please
be,
help me. That was the main thing you did, not the book. The main thing was you said, Hashem, please help me make friends.
Well,
That was the main point.
yes.
Not what you read in the book. That statement.
But I had to get.
Yes.
How do you get rid of the concealment? How do you get rid of that?
By saying, Hashem,
Lemon.
please help me. By saying, Hashem, please help me, that's how I get rid of that concealment, because I realize it's Hashem. When you say, Hashem, please help me, what are you doing?
Well,
You're recognizing.
it's not specific enough for me. I have to say,
I
help
see.
me make these calls.
Fine.
Help me see that I'm just calling to make friends.
How about Hashem should help you that you shouldn't have chas v'shalom a headache, you shouldn't have a stomach ache. Hashem help me that I should feel right. My toes shouldn't hurt me. I should be able to sit. I shouldn't have whatever. Right. Hashem help me.
Right.
I need help from you, Hashem. Of course. And if I want to make a call, saying I need your help, Hashem, of course, that'll be with the call, whatever it is. But recognizing it's Hashem, that's the whole point.
Absolutely.
Recognizing it's all Hashem. That's the whole point.
You're right. The part of the point what I was thinking was you have.
I don't need to be right. This we're learning the Rebbe's Torah here. It's not me.
No, I agree with you there.
You
I
agree with
God. I agree
yeah.
with the whole, whatever. But what I'm saying is that there are things that we may not be aware of that are preventing us from asking for help.
Of course, and that's the Yetzer Hara. And that's the imagination. Again, that's what's in our mind. Think about it. That's what's in our mind telling me that I need to read this book better because I need to have better knowledge as what to say to the customer, to what to say to this person. That's all the imagination. Thinking that this book is going to help me. Thinking that that's the imagination. That's what we're talking about. We're trying to get rid of that.
Get rid of the imagination.
We're trying to train the imagination. The imagination should understand it's you, Hashem.
Okay,
And I rely on you, Hashem. Perfect. Let's go on. Okay, so these are the begadim. These are the begadim, the vestment, the garments that we wear. Bechinas chalukah de Rabbanan. This is the garments of the Rabbanan. The holy rabbis. The rabbis understood, and the rabbis understand when they put on their tzitzis, when they're wearing their talis, they understand their mamash being connected, that they're wrapped in a talis. When you put on your talis, you're wrapping yourself in with the Rebbeinu Shalom. You're wrapping yourself in. Rabbi Nachman says you can use that time for a little isbaidus. You're almost like in a little room by yourself. You're mamash enclosed in the tzitzis. So use that, talk to Hashem, tell Hashem all the things that are bothering you. Tell Hashem at that time, ask Him for the help. Ask Hashem, help me now. I have the tzitzis on. Help my mind, to train my mind that I know it's you all day. The same way I'm wrapped in this little booth here, in this little the thing when I'm putting on my this atef tzitzis, I'm wrapped in my tzitzis. I'm wrapped in them. Help me be wrapped with you all the time. That's what we're trying to say. Okay, now look. Shehu levush haneshama. These are talking about the levushim. These are the garments of the neshama. This is what the neshama needs. This is the levush. This is the garment that the neshama wants and it's yearning for. The neshama wants the guf to understand that it's all Hashem. And then he makes that. And look, the same way, The same way, a person is very careful if they have, let's say you have a white shirt, right? And you see there's a big spot on the shirt, right? There's a big spot. Are you going to want to wear that shirt? You're not going to wear it. You'll take another shirt. You're not going to want to, because you don't want people to, I don't have a big spot on my, it doesn't look nice, right? It doesn't look nice. So 1 second. So when you're studying Torah, do you want to make yourself a spot on that garment that you're making that'll be up on high, where it really counts? Down here, this is just a rehearsal. Down here, it's just a rehearsal. It's not the show. It's not the actual performance. Upstairs is the real performance. So everything we're doing down here, we're just preparing. We're just rehearsing for what it's going to be in the real when the real gig is going on. When we come to the next world and it's the real thing going on. So that's what it means. The levushim, the levush haneshama, kol echad boilam haba, that each one will merit to have in the next world. Kifi ha'Torah v'hamitzvos shezocha l'sagel boilam hazer. Everyone will have whatever you prepare in this world. The same way it says, you'll eat what you have on Shabbos. Whatever you prepared, you'll have for Shabbos, right? This world right now is the 6 days. The next world is the Shabbos. The same way I have to prepare the 6 days, and then I can prepare and I can enjoy my food and everything on Shabbos. That's the same idea. The 6 days of creation, which is the 6 days, which is our life in this world. Which is our life, and this was all the preparation for the Shabbos. Yom Shekulei Shabbos. That's Olam Haba. Yom Shekulei Shabbos. Okay, for Ikra Tikkun HaBegadim, what's the main Tikkun of the Begadim? What's the main way that I can have this Tikkun HaBegadim? Hu al Yedei Tzitzis. It's only through me connecting myself to the tzitzis. If I can look at the tzitzis and I understand that the tzitzis is that chud of chesed, like we learned yesterday. The tzitzis is 72. Do you know that? Tzitzis is 72. Did you know that?
You told us, yeah.
Yeah, very good. Okay, so you remember. That's good. 72, right? And if you understand that that's the 72 strings on David on the kinar that's going to be on David Malka Mashiach's harp, it's going to have 72 strings. But if I understand, wow, look at these things. When I look at my tzitzis, I mamish can connect. I can be oichas on the kisei hakovid. I mamish can be connected to Hashem's throne. To Hashem's throne. What do I have to do with Hashem's throne? My neshama comes from underneath Hashem's throne. My neshama inside of me comes from Takas Kisei HaKavod. So I have a connection to the Kisei HaKavod. I have a connection to Hashem's throne of glory. Why? Because my neshama that He put inside of me, Elikai neshama shenafach lebi, right? That Hashem put inside of me, that neshama comes from there. So of course I can connect back to the Kisei HaKavod, right? I can connect back because that's where my neshama came. That's its home. That's its home address, right? So all this is through the tzitzis. If I understand that, when I put on my tzitzis, and this is what the Chazal teach us in the Gemara in Shabbos. They say, it's on Daf Kuf Nun Gimel Amid Aleph, B'chol eis yu b'gadecha levanim. All the times your clothing is supposed to be white. It's really coming. It's based on Kahelas. But the Gemara is talking about it also. Eilu tzitzis. These are the tzitzis that the garments are supposed to be clean always. How are you going to have clean garments? Through the tzitzis, through your tzitzis. Ki tzitzis hu klolius kiyam atayra mitzvah, because the tzitzis is the all inclusive way to fulfill all the Torah mitzvahs. Because again, if I get up in the morning and the first thing I do is I take my tzitzis and I understand what the tzitzis is connecting me to, and I understand that this is my connection to HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and I'm wearing these tzitzis all day, and I have my tzitzis on me, and I understand that. So, and all my day, I remember I need to study Torah. All my day, I remember that everything I'm doing can be a mitzvah. When I eat my breakfast, can be a mitzvah. Why the Shulchan Aruch says I'm supposed to eat pas shachris? Do you know that? Eat pas shachris, eat breakfast. Do you know it's a mitzvah to eat breakfast? You know, most people say I have no time for breakfast. I eat a big lunch, I eat a big dinner. Why? It's the Yitzhara. The Shulchan Aruch says eat breakfast. So when they say, no, I have no time for breakfast, I got to get to the office. People will say that, right? I have no time for breakfast. You ever hear people say that? They have no time for breakfast. I eat lunch, I eat dinner. Chazal don't give us a mitzvah to eat lunch and dinner. It's a mitzvah to eat pas shachris. You understand? That's the mitzvah. That's why people have no time. So if you have a sandwich, you make a mezainis. Even a mizonas it can be considered a pashakras. So you make a mizonas, you have in mind, I want to fulfill the chazals for pashakras. Hey, I'm doing a mitzvah. I'm eating a piece of cake. I'm eating my calzone. I'm eating my bagel. Whatever I'm eating, whatever you're eating, it doesn't matter. But then I'm doing a mitzvah. When I make that call, if I understand, I'm making this call now. Why? Because Hashem wants me to earn a living in an honest way. And I'm careful what I say to the person. I don't fudge anything. I don't lie. I say the things, I say everything honestly. And I say it the right way. And so then that is a mitzvah, that call. That whole call is a mitzvah. Why? Because you only study Torah in order to know how to live. Torah gives us the guidance on how to live. So if I study Torah and I study these lessons that we're learning now, and then I understand that any time I talk to somebody, any connection that I have with anybody, that's my test, that's my bechira. Am I going to fulfill my bechira? Am I going to fulfill the test via understanding that it's all from Hashem? Then I pass the test. That's a mitzvah. So I can actually, we're learning how all your entire day, no matter what you're doing. Of course, if you could sit and study Torah all day, that's wonderful. But whatever you have to do, and Hashem sets us up, we all have our responsibilities, what we have to do, and we have to do our responsibilities. But to understand, when I'm doing my responsibility, these are not menial tasks that I'm doing. These are things that can earn me garments for my neshama, for Olam Haba. Even though I'm doing mundane things, I'm doing simple things. I may not be studying, I may not be doing that at the moment. I may be helping someone, it doesn't matter. But if I understand that it's part of Hashem, so then that too is a mitzvah. So I can mamash have my entire day full of mitzvahs. And how can I do that? Through using my tzitzis to give me that guide. The tzitzis can train my mind, train the imagination in order that I understand it's all you, Hashem. All through the tzitzis. Shehem bechinas begodam levanim k'moshe kosav leman tizkuru, like we say in the Kriya Shema, leman tizkuru v'asisem is kol mitzvosai. You should remember and do all of the mitzvahs, right? V'lo yisasuru acharei levavchem v'acharei einechem, and don't sort after the desires of the heart and the desires of the eyes. Don't do that. And what can help you? The Torah says the tzitzis can help you. The tzitzis can help fend off all of the different taivas, all of the different nonsense of the world, all of that stuff that's there to entice us. If we understand the tzitzis, and how do you know what's the best proof? The Torah tells it to us. And why we say that 3 times a day. Right? We say the parsha of Kriya Shema at least 3 times a day. Right? We say it in the morning. We say it by Maya. We say it by Kriya Shema Lamita. If you put on Rabbeinu Tam Tefillin, you'll say it one more time, and you can say it all day long. Say the parsha all day long. Say that you're sitting in your car, you're sitting in traffic, talk to the Rebbeinu Shalom, just say Kriya Shema. Why not? Say the words. Connect yourself to Hashem. You can't, you know the words, so say the words. You know Kapitel Tehillim, say them. Say the Kapitel. Yes, go ahead.
It seems to me, I remember a story, I don't remember all the details, but you may, that a Jewish person was going to see a harlot. And his tzitzis protected him.
It's like a story in the Gemara
Of continuing.
Yeah. There was a.
Like this.
No, he went to a Beis Zayin. He went to a harlot. He climbed up some ladder and he went up over there and then he was taking off his tzitzis and the tzitzis slapped him. The tzitzis slapped him. Oh, what am I doing? He woke him up. The tzitzis woke him up. Here you go. That's the story. We said that we had that in a couple lessons before. We mentioned that. But that's the story to understand that the tzitzis really can help you, based on that story, right? Perfect. That's wonderful that you made that connection. Wonderful. And let's go. We'll do another couple of minutes. The tzitzis, which is the chut, the string, the chut of chesed. Tzitzis is the chut of chesed. Again, chesed is 72, like we mentioned a few moments ago. Shaydeze nimshach al adam bechinas hatoichecha shalamaichiach ha'emes. Oh, here we go. We're starting a new thing now, but we learned this many, many times. Through this, a person can have the taichecha, he can have the rebuke. Shalamaichiach ha'emes. That's coming from the person that's a true person that's worthy to give the rebuke. In other words, again, the tzitzis can help me that when I hear something, I can understand that the thing that I'm hearing is a message for me, sent by Hashem. See, again, when somebody tells you something, if you're going to a class, let's say you're in a class, you're listening, you're listening to a podcast or whatever you may be doing, right? And you hear a certain thing. So then you have to ask yourself, why did Hashem have me listen to this thing now? Why am I listening to this now? What's the lesson saying right now? This lesson. Could be this lesson is teaching me something, guiding me in the right way, right? Guiding me in the right way if I take it the right way. If I understand that it's only Hashem wanted me to listen to this at this time, and this person is saying over this specific halacha, he's saying over this piece of mussar, whatever he's doing, and then, wait a second, this is something I realize I'm not doing this right. And you hear that. And you can accept that. So that's an amazing thing. But again, how are you going to be able to accept that? Again, we have egos, right? We have an ego. The ego is going to say, our ego says, what do you mean? What does he know? I know better. What does he know? How could he tell me that I'm doing something wrong? But a person that's emes, a person that's connected, he's an isha emes. And he's searching for the truth. So when he hears something, he understands that that's a message from Hashem to help him, guide him in the right way.
I'll give you a little quick example.
Please give it, please. David, please.
My head was somewhere in some kind of shtus, and on the truck in front of me was somebody written up, "Look up," on the back of it. And that well, look up. That was like a message from Hashem to look up, and it shook me out of my...
Unbelievable, yeah. So, but you're right. So another person would look at. He wouldn't even pay attention. He's enjoying where his mind is.
Right.
But a person that's trying to find the emes. When you see these different things, they're messages from HaKadosh Baruch Hu, and you can take them. You can because it's emes. You understand? Okay. So someone that's worthy to give a rebuke, like Moshe Rabbeinu, right? Moshe Rabbeinu was worthy to give rebuke, right? He was the best rabbi Klal Yisrael ever had, right? He loved Klal Yisrael more than anybody else. He put his own neck on the line for Klal Yisrael, right? Right? If you don't forgive me, Hashem, get me out of your. I don't want to be part of your book. What kind of tzaddik is that? He tell to Hashem. That's a tefillah b'din, by the way. Remember we were learning about tefillah b'din? That's a tefillah b'din. Moshe Rabbeinu could tell HaKadosh Baruch Hu, if you're not going to forgive the Jewish people, take me out of your book. That's not a tefillah b'din? Moshe Rabbeinu. Rabban Shal Yisrael. Okay. But then, when a tzaddik like Moshe Rabbeinu gives rebuke, it gives a good reyach to the neshama. It gives a good reyach to the neshama. Like we were learning before in the Tanya, when a person does an aveira, right? What's he doing? He's making that mufsek hamavdil. He's making that separation between him and Hashem. Right? We're supposed to always connect ourselves to Hashem, but if Chas v'Shalom a Jew does an aveira, what's he doing? He's making that iron curtain. He's putting the iron curtain. He's making an iron curtain between him and HaKadosh Baruch Hu. You understand? But when a tzaddik that's a true isha emes, he can go over to the person. He can take this, and we said that the aveira has a very terrible stench to it. It has a terrible stench. Sins have a very terrible odor. They smell terrible. So you don't want to stoke something that's sitting there, right? If it doesn't smoke, because if you stoke the excrement, right, what's going to happen? It'll start to smell again, right? But if the tzaddik can give the rebuke to the person in a nice way, what's he actually doing? He's actually putting like a perfume over the sin. He's putting a perfume over it. He's putting something that's going to, keep it a smell, a nice sweet smell, while the person can guide the person to do tshuva, right? Where the person can now do tshuva, so then that piece of excrement can cease to exist. It can just leave. Because when the person does tshuva, he can transform the iniquity. He can transform that terrible odor, that smelling thing that he did by the sin. He can transform it into a merit. So then that thing will go away. But that's the whole idea when you have when you have the rebuke from an isha emes, from someone that can give, he can put a beautiful smell over the sin during that time that it's still a terrible odor, till the person can come eventually to make the tshuva, to make that thing disappear. You understand the difference? Okay. Shafilu shemaychichin al averos also einay ma'oira areach ra shel averos. That even though the person is giving this tzaddik is giving the rebuke, he's not causing the stench. He's not causing that stench. Adarabba, opposite. Not only is he not giving the stench, Adarabba, who zaychay they call hataychocha shegama averis yishapchu lezechuyas. Eventually, I gave you the thing, so you just see it inside from Rav Nosson. Rav Nosson's word of Mahamash. Wow. That the rebuke that's given can cause that these averos that the person did, his iniquities that he did, can cause those iniquities to become merits.
So some people say that when Sarah laughed,
yeah,
and then later she said, I didn't laugh. It was because she so quickly did teshuva that it was as if she didn't even do it.
She didn't even do it. Yeah. Yeah, excellent. It adds and it gives a beautiful smell, a beautiful aroma to the neshamas bechinas nerdi nasan reichai. Ozav loy nemar doesn't say ozav to abandon it. It doesn't say ela nasa. It gives. What does it mean? What does that mean? Because we know that the b'makim balei tshuva aim the ein tzadikim gemurim yechayim laimed. Right? We know these words, very very famous words. That the place where Baal Tshuva stands, a tzaddik can't stand. Why? Because those averos that he did, that are there, can then be transformed into mitzvahs. Those things that he did wrong, those things that there's separations that he made between him and Hashem via not recognizing Hashem, those separations that he made, those can all be transformed into merits. All of those things can be transformed into. That's why it doesn't say azav. It doesn't say I abandon those sins. I don't want to abandon them. When I understand I'm searching for HaKadosh Baruch Hu.
Yeah, it's me again. Sorry.
When I'm a person doing tshuva and I'm in that parsha, I don't want to abandon the things I did wrong. I want all of those things. I want to keep them all till I learn how to do tshuva, because then I could take every single one of those iniquities that I did, those things that have those terrible stenches, and I can make them into beautiful mitzvahs that can have the most beautiful aroma possible. I want them. It doesn't say azav. It doesn't say what does azav mean? To abandon, right? Right? To leave, to abandon. It doesn't say. It says nosan. Right? Tzitzit. That's tzitzit. Tzitzit can help me do that because again, it can work on my koyach hamedame. Bechinas sataychecha, bechinas reisa ma'isa yuschartem es kol mitzvahs Hashem. You'll look at the tzitzit. You remember all the mitzvahs. V'loisa suru. Then you won't go after, like we said, from what the eyes want. You won't chase after what the heart desires. Tzitzit ma'chichin es ha'adam sheyasa mitzvahs Hashem. The tzitzit can be the best way to rebuke a person. The tzitzis can be the rebuke of a person if we only take advantage of it. We're wearing the tzitzis anyway. We're putting on these beautiful this garment. We're putting on. Let's take advantage of the garment and help this garment guide my mind so I can accomplish what I need to accomplish. By not to go after the taivas of the person's heart. I think we're gonna stop over here. Okay, and I want to wish everyone a great day, and thank you so much for partaking in the class. Kol tov, everybody.